In case you haven't noticed, Riverdale is weird. They don't fit in, and they don't want to fit in. Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 cringiest Riverdale moments. For this list, we'll be looking at some of the moments that really made us question where the writers and producers were going with this beloved CW show. Number 10. Tickle Me Kevin.
What is with the tickling?
Have you ever videotaped yourself?
Once, it didn't go well.
No. Videotaped yourself getting tickled.
Why does every date I go on have to get super weird?
Many viewers weren't quite sure what the show was trying to accomplish by inserting Kevin into a tickle fetish world, but then again, Riverdale is known for its occasional forays into strange subplots.
Are you sure he understands what kind of video we're making? That it's just tickling?
While Kevin should be able to freely explore his sexuality, the show has frequently put him into questionable and sometimes even dangerous situations for the sake of a few flings or dalliances. The fact that Kevin's still in high school also brings another element of concern, considering he's underage. But let's be real, age has never really been a factor in Riverdale's plots.
You can make a lot more if and when you build a following.
Terry, this is a one-time thing.
That's a shame.
Number 9. Dark Betty, Cam Girl.
Are you excited? Nervous?
Both. I haven't seen him all summer.
Riverdale takes a very loose approach to adapting the original Archie comics. Therefore, it makes sense that this modern take involves a more multi-dimensional version of Betty, rather than forcing her into the stereotypical perfect girl next door mold. However, rather than making her rebel in a more subtle manner, the show decided to create Dark Betty, an alter ego with a black bob haircut.
Wait, what? What?
Apologize for ruining Polly.
What the hell?
Do it, Jason!
Oh my God!
Say you're sorry for destroying me! Apologize for what you did to me!
This alter ego first appears when Betty and Veronica decide to get revenge against Chuck, but the real shocker is when Betty decides to become a cam girl.
Do I look good?
Mm-hmm.
Can I dress for you?
Yeah.
I love talking to you.
I like talking to you too.
Can we meet sometime?
Maybe.
Number 8. Kissing Cousins.
How a casual conversation turned into an epic forbidden romance. How, for reasons still murky, their respective parents tried to tear them apart. How their breakup was short-lived because Polly soon learned she was pregnant with Jason's baby.
Polly and Jason's love story started out as being a sweet, albeit tragic tale of star-crossed love. Their affair ended with Jason's abrupt and gruesome murder, but their story maintained a certain air of romance.
And how their dreams of escape went up in flames.
From their forceful separation, to their engagement, to Polly's pregnancy, the two certainly appeared to be dedicated to the relationship. However, everything changed when Hal revealed that the Coopers and Blossoms were actually related, meaning that Polly and Jason are actually blood relatives.
I'm a blossom?
Polly is a blossom, which makes her and Jason relatives by blood.
This information tainted Polly and Jason's love story, and suddenly they went from tragic sweethearts to distant cousins.
We need to get Polly out of that house.
Number 7. The Red Circle. Archie's desire to restore justice is undoubtedly a good trait, but his attempts are often a little misguided.
We're called the Red Circle, and we're coming for you.
In Season 2, Archie forms a vigilante group called the Red Circle to track down the murderous Black Hood. While this plan seemed at least decent in concept, it fell flat in its execution. Apparently, Archie's idea of intimidation includes a room full of shirtless men in red ski masks. Archie's monologue doesn't do much to improve the Red Circle's image either.
We will find you. We will hunt you. And we will end you.
The group was ultimately more humorous than it was intimidating. But that didn't stop Archie from his desire to be a savior, as in Season 4, where he continued to play the part of vigilante superhero.
You're not actually considering fighting crime in those tights, are you?
Of course not. I'm gonna need a mask.
Number 6. Prison Yard Football.
Not so fun without the pads, huh?
Oh man, this is great.
Holy hell. It's about to get a whole lot better.
Archie's love of high school football is well established throughout the series, but he takes his passion a little too far in this infamous scene. While in prison, Archie meets an inmate with a tragic background.
Not me. I dropped out in the 4th grade to run drugs to support my nana.
That means you haven't known the triumphs and defeats, the epic highs and lows of high school football.
He tells Archie that he dropped out of school in 4th grade to sell drugs and support his grandmother. While this information was probably a lot to process, Archie's immediate response made no sense, as he blurted out a tacky line about missing out on high school football, because apparently there's nothing more tragic than not partaking in school sports.
Not ghoulies versus serpents. No gangs. We'll mix it up for a clean, fair game.
Or we gut you like a fish and take your shoes again.
This moment definitely undid some of the show's attempts to make Archie appear more complex than just an archetypal jock.
How about this? MVP wins my new sneakers.
Number 5. Veronica saying Daddy and Archiekins.
Totally unacceptable, Archiekins. We need an escort.
It's well established that the dialogue in Riverdale is neither the most realistic nor the most natural. And yet, Veronica's constant use of words like daddy, daddykins, and Archiekins might take the cake for being the most off-putting.
Veronica!
What's the matter, Daddy?
Every time Veronica says daddy or Archiekins, it sounds as though it's an afterthought, which only makes it even more awkward. It's especially cringe-inducing when Veronica calls her dad daddy even when she's incredibly mad at him. It just never seems to fit the mood of the scene.
This bottle I cracked open is a lot better than the swill you've been making recently, Daddy.
Number 4. All the singing.
I like drinking hard, maxing Dad's credit card. I like skipping gym, scaring her, screwing him. I like killer clothes, kicking nerds in the nose.
While some of the singing on Riverdale is well done, and the actors have decent voices, there are certain moments that just make us ask, why? A prime example of this is when the River Vixens sing a cover of Elvis's Jailhouse Rock in front of Archie's juvenile detention center. It kind of makes sense. Jailhouse Rock at an actual jail. Or at least a juvie where all the teenagers somehow look mid-20s. The connection is obvious, but the scene is also completely unnecessary. And also it's another example of how the show loves to overly sexualize its teen characters, even when it makes no sense. Number 3. Betty's serpent dance. Everything about this scene is jarring and a little bit ridiculous. In an attempt to prove her love for Jughead, Betty decides to take part in a serpent gang initiation and performs a striptease to the sad tune of Mad World. While the underlying sentiment of Betty's acceptance of Jughead's new life is sweet, the logic is somewhat questionable. Betty is a minor, but it gets even more cringe-inducing when you realize that both her mom and Jughead's dad are present to witness her dancing. Her mom's shocked look and JP's awkward clapping really seal the deal. Number 2. We're endgame, Archie.
I'm so glad you called, Archie. We did it! Attorney McCoy worked it out with the judge. You're a free man.
I shouldn't be surprised. You're amazing.
I promise you'd be free by homecoming.
Veronica Lodge always keeps her word.
The phrase, show, don't tell, doesn't appear to be something that Riverdale follows closely. Veronica and Archie's breakup scene is actually quite heartbreaking, and the actors do a great job of conveying their emotions during a difficult situation.
But your dad is still out there. And I can't escape him. As long as we're together, he'll be hunting me down, and everyone close to me is his target. That includes you.
The audience really feels for them. However, the writers just had to shoehorn in this phrase, tainting an otherwise moving moment.
Because we're endgame, Archie.
While many of us were rooting for Archie and Veronica to stay together until the end, hearing the sentiment worded like that definitely took some romance out of the whole ordeal.
I hope you know how much I love you.
If you loved me, you would come home.
All I can say is, oof. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few dishonorable mentions. Chad Michael Murray is the leader of a cult.
Mom, you can't marry Edgar. He's already married to Evelyn.
You think I don't know that? There are no secrets here at the farm.
Veronica and Jughead kissing.
Jughead? Don't freak out. Just trust me.
Paul Papa Poutine Boucher and Small Fry.
And this charming fellow is Papa Poutine. He owns a chain of hot dog restaurants in Quebec, which is why you never heard of him.
The Cabin Party.
As long as it's cool with your dad?
Oh, Mr. Lodge actually suggested it.
Yeah.
Well, then cue the dueling banjos. What? It'll also be a good chance for me to work on my novel.
FP and Alice Cooper getting together.
Not really in the mood to cook. So can we have turkey dinner at Pop's tomorrow night?
Fine by me.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Jughead's I'm a Weirdo speech. Even if you've never seen an episode of Riverdale before, you've probably seen at least a snippet of this speech floating around the internet.
I'm not normal. I'm not wired to be normal.
This is a scene that's so cringe-worthy that it transcends the boundaries of the show. The whole monologue appears to be an exercise in the misunderstood loner trope.
In case you haven't noticed, I'm weird. I'm a weirdo. I don't fit in, and I don't want to fit in.
Rather than letting the audience come to their own conclusions about Jughead's character through his actions or more nuanced dialogue, the writers decided to tell its viewers point blank that Jughead's a misfit and that he's not like other teens.
Have you ever seen me without this stupid hat on? That's weird.
Why are you getting so upset?
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.